Grandma's 75th birthday was meant to be a day full of warmth, laughter, and love, the kind of day that wrapped around you like a soft blanket. The house was glowing with golden fairy lights, and the scent of freshly baked vanilla cake drifted through every room. Relatives filled the space with chatter, smiles, and excitement, each one carrying beautifully wrapped presents decorated with ribbons and bows. I stood quietly near the corner, watching it all unfold, holding the box my parents had given me. Unlike the others, mine was plain. No wrapping paper, no ribbon, just a simple, dull cardboard box sealed with tape. It felt light in my hands, too light, but when I had asked my mother about it earlier that morning, she had brushed me off. "Just give it to your grandmother," she said coldly, not even meeting my eyes. "What is inside?" I had asked softly. My father looked up, irritation flashing across his face. "It's not your concern. Do as you're told." Something about their tone unsettled me, but I didn't question them further. I had learned long ago that questioning only made things worse. Still, as I stood there, watching everyone laugh and celebrate, a quiet unease settled in my chest. Why did my gift feel so wrong? One by one, family members stepped forward to present their gifts. Each moment was filled with hugs, laughter, and Grandma's warm, grateful smile. She made everyone feel special, as if their presence alone was the greatest gift she could receive. Then my name was called. My heart began to pound as all eyes turned toward me. I tightened my grip on the box and slowly walked forward, feeling smaller with every step. Compared to the elegant presents stacked beside her, mine looked embarrassing, almost careless. "I'm sorry, Grandma," I whispered, my voice barely audible as I handed it to her. She looked at me with nothing but love, her gentle smile easing my racing heart for just a moment. "Anything from you is precious, my dear," she said softly, placing her hand over mine. That kindness almost broke me. As she began to open the box, the room grew quieter. Conversations faded, replaced by curious glances. I held my breath, my stomach twisting with a feeling I couldn't explain. The lid came off. Grandma paused. Her smile slowly disappeared. A murmur spread through the crowd. Inside the box, there was nothing. It was completely empty. Confusion turned into whispers and whispers into judgment. Is this some kind of joke? How could she do this? My chest tightened as panic surged through me. I didn't know," I stammered, my voice trembling. "I thought." I stopped. Across the room, my parents stood watching. Not shocked, not confused, but smiling, and in that moment my heart sank. This wasn't a mistake, it was betrayal. The whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, sharper, cutting through me like invisible knives. I stood frozen in place, my hands trembling, my mind struggling to understand what had just happened. My cheeks burned with humiliation, and all I wanted was to disappear. I didn't know. I repeated weakly, but no one seemed to hear me. Grandma, however, didn't look at the crowd. She looked at me, really looked at me. There was no anger in her eyes, no disappointment, only something deeper, something thoughtful. Then, without a word, she reached back into the empty box. For a second, I thought she was just trying to save me from embarrassment, to pretend something had been there all along. But then her fingers grasped something, a folded piece of paper. The room fell silent again as she slowly pulled it out. My breath caught in my throat. I was sure that box had been empty. Grandma unfolded the note carefully, her expression unreadable. Her eyes moved across the page, and as she read, something changed. The tension in her face softened. Then she smiled, not the polite smile she had given guests all evening. This one was different. It was knowing. "Did you read this, my dear?" she asked gently, looking at me. I shook my head quickly, still confused and shaken. "No, I didn't even know it was there." Her smile widened slightly, and she nodded as if that confirmed something important. "I thought so," she murmured. Across the room, I noticed my parents shift uncomfortably. My father's jaw tightened, and my mother's confident expression began to crack. For the first time that evening, they didn't look in control. Grandma turned back to the crowd, holding the note in her hand. "I believe this should be read aloud," she said calmly. "No?" My father stepped forward quickly. "Mom, that's not necessary." Grandma didn't even glance at him. Instead, she began to read. "To my beloved granddaughter," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. If you're reading this, it means things have unfolded exactly as I expected. A ripple of confusion spread through the guests. My heart began to race. What did that mean? This box may appear empty, Grandma continued, but it carries a truth that can no longer remain hidden. I felt my breath hitch. Hidden truth? Grandma paused for a moment, her eyes lifting from the paper to meet mine. You deserve to know who you really are, she read softly, and what truly belongs to you. A chill ran down my spine. The room was completely silent now. No whispers, no judgment, only anticipation. Grandma folded the note carefully, her expression now calm but firm. Then she placed it back inside the box and closed the lid gently, as if it contained something priceless. When she looked up again, her presence filled the entire room. I think, she said slowly, it's time everything comes to light. My parents froze. And for the first time in my life, I felt like something was about to change. A heavy silence settled over the room, thick and suffocating. No one moved, no one spoke. All eyes were now on Grandma, waiting, almost afraid of what she would say next. She stepped forward slowly, her posture straight despite her age, her presence stronger than anyone else in the room. For years, she began, her voice calm but firm, I have watched something deeply painful unfold in this family. My chest tightened. I didn't need to ask what she meant. I felt it in every memory, every ignored moment, every cold glance from my parents. They treated her like she didn't matter. Grandma continued, gesturing gently toward me. Like she was invisible, like she didn't belong in her own home. A wave of murmurs spread through the guests, but this time it wasn't directed at me. It was directed at them. That's not true. My mother snapped, stepping forward, her voice sharp with panic. You're exaggerating, am I? Grandma interrupted, her tone suddenly colder than I had ever heard before. The room fell silent again. My father clenched his fists. This isn't the place for this discussion. No, Grandma said firmly. This is exactly the place. She turned slightly, addressing everyone now. You all saw what just happened, she said. An empty box given to a girl who has done nothing but love quietly, without expecting anything in return. My eyes filled with tears again, but I didn't look away this time. I stood there, listening. For them, it was meant to humiliate her. Grandma continued, her gaze briefly flicking toward my parents. But for me, it was proof. Proof, the word echoed in my mind. Proof of what? Grandma took a deep breath, then spoke the words that changed everything. She is the only rightful heir to everything I own. Gasps filled the room instantly. My heart stopped. What? I whispered, barely able to process it. That's impossible. My father shouted, We are your children. And yet, Grandma replied calmly, You failed where it mattered most. My mother's face twisted with anger. You can't just give everything to her. She doesn't deserve it. Grandma's eyes hardened. She deserves far more than what you've ever given her. Silence fell again, heavier than before. I felt like the ground beneath me had shifted. Grandma, I don't understand, I said softly. Why me? Her expression softened as she looked at me. Because you were the only one who never asked for anything, she said gently, and yet you gave love freely. Tears slipped down my cheeks, but this time I didn't feel ashamed. I felt seen. My parents stood speechless now, their control slipping away with every passing second. You tried to make her look like nothing, Grandma said, her voice steady and final, but today you've only revealed your own truth. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. The humiliation they planned for me had turned into their own exposure. The party didn't end with laughter. It ended with truth. No one returned to the music or the cake the same way again. Conversations had shifted, eyes had opened, and the atmosphere that once felt warm now carried a quiet tension. But for me, something else had taken its place, clarity. For the first time in my life, I wasn't shrinking under people's stares. I wasn't questioning my worth. I stood beside Grandma not as someone invisible, but as someone seen. Guests began approaching us, one by one, not with judgment, but with kindness. I didn't know. One aunt whispered softly, squeezing my hand. You're stronger than I thought. Another said gently. Each word felt like a piece of something inside me being rebuilt. Across the room, my parents stood alone. No one gathered around them anymore. No one laughed with them. The same silence they had forced on me for years had now found its way back to them. But strangely, I didn't feel happy about their downfall. I just felt free. That night, after everyone had left, the house grew quiet again. The fairy lights still glowed softly, casting golden shadows across the walls. I sat beside Grandma, both of us wrapped in a peaceful silence. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. I nodded, though my voice came out softer than expected. "I think I finally am." She smiled, her eyes filled with warmth and pride. "You handled everything with more strength than I could have hoped for." I looked down at my hands. "I thought I would feel angry. I thought I'd want revenge. And do you?" she asked. I paused, then slowly shook my head. "No," I admitted, "because they already lost something far more important." Grandma raised an eyebrow slightly. "And what's that, me?" I said quietly. The word hung in the air, simple yet powerful. For years, I had chased their approval, their love, their attention, but now I didn't need it anymore. Days passed, and life began to change. I moved into Grandma's home, helping her, learning from her, and slowly building a life that felt safe. Something I had never truly known before. Laughter came easier, peace felt natural. My parents tried to reach out eventually, apologies, excuses. Regret, but I didn't rush to answer. Not out of anger, but because I finally understood my worth. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange, I held that same box in my hands. The empty box, except now it didn't feel empty at all. It held the moment everything changed, the moment I lost their approvals and found myself.